Okay, so I want to do these problems real quick, talking about the compound interest. It's typed out. I don't know if it'll be blurry or not, but the compound interest, you're going to actually identify certain parts of your formula, and then depending on how it tells you you're compounding a certain like principal that you invest, that determines the formula that you use. So here it says after T years. So in your formula, T is your years, right? And then it says the balance, which is your A, in an account with the principal P, and an annual interest rate of R. The really important thing here is that you write your R, your interest rate, in decimal form before you even do any of your formula. And this is given by, so your two different options when you use compound interest is that it's either going to be compounded at different intervals throughout the year, or it's going to be compounded continuously. So if it's done at different times throughout the year, then it would be your first formula, which is for N compoundings per year. This N is actually going to come from whether or not it's compounded yearly. My N would be 1. If my interest is compounded semi-annually, like that would be 2, right? Semi meaning like think of a sphere, like it's cut in half. And then we have quarterly, which would be 4, 12 months in a year. There's, 4 quarters. And then if my interest is compounded monthly, then that would be 12, daily 365, weekly 52, right? So those are going to be your different options for your N. And the actual formula is going to be the amount in your account is equal to your principal times 1 plus your rate divided by the number of times it's compounded. And all of this is raised to the number of times it's compounded multiplied by the amount of years that you have. So set in, just letters, we have A equals P times, that's 1 plus R over N, and it's all raised to the NT. So for these problems, you identify what all of these parts are, right? When you plug them in, make sure to do order of operations. I believe kind of doing each step individually is best. And whatever variable you don't have a value for, that's the one you're finding, right? Now, if it says that you have a certain amount of money that you invested and you're going to compound it continuously, you would actually use this formula right here. So the amount of money that you have in your account is determined by the amount of principal that you invested, and it's going to be multiplied by E. That's that Euler's number, right? We have an E on our calculator. That E is going to be raised to the R times T. So that's the rate, and then like the number of years that you're compounding that amount of money, right? That amount of principal. So let's go ahead and do, it's just kind of blurry. Let's go ahead and do this first and only problem, actually. And what they do is they're going to give you an amount of money. That's your initial investment, right? That's your principal. And you're actually going to invest this amount of money for 6 years. Now, you as an adult, right, you've got this much money to invest, which is awesome. You need to choose between these two different banks or these two different options that you're given. Do you want to compound your money at 7% per year, compounded monthly, right? Or do you want to invest your money at 6.85% per year, but it's compounded continuously? The only way to know is to literally identify all your different parts and then like plug it into your formula. There's sometimes continuously you actually make more money than you would doing it monthly or yearly, or like, so that's why you have to solve it first and then see what's my best bet. So I know I need A, P, R, N, T. So let's actually write those. Like, what are these, right? So my A is going to be the balance I have in my account. I'm looking for that here. I don't know what that is, but I know that that's going to be my balance. And then let's find our P. P is the principal, right? That's that initial amount that you invest. And here in this problem, it's 8,000. And then what I have is, I'm just kind of following this formula, A, P. Okay, then I see an R. R, that's my rate. Remember, very important that you write it in decimal form. So I've got two different rates here. So if you want to write this once and then do the problem and then write it twice and do the problem, like you can do that, okay? I see that right here for A, it says 7% is my rate, right? For decimal form, what you do is you find the decimal, it's going to be right here at the end, and you move it 2 times to the left. So you go 1, 2. So this in decimal form would actually be 0.07, right? Do y'all agree with me? This is for my A part of the problem, right? That's this one. I'm going to go ahead and solve it right here for the B part of the problem. For B, I'm going to have a rate of 6.85%. So I'm literally just doing this for time in your own work, maybe just find each thing separately. 6.85%, move your decimal twice. That's 1, 2. So it looks like what I'm going to do is add 1 0 in front of my 6. That's my rate for answer B. Okay, I only use that 0.07 for A. I'm only going to use that 0.0685 for B. Okay, I'm not going to use both of those in both formulas. You can confuse yourself if you do that. What else do we need? Okay, so I need an N. Okay, so my N, y'all, there's not even an N in this formula. I only need my N for part A. I don't need my N for part B. But if I find everything, then I can plug stuff in, right? My N is for N compoundings per year. Okay, so let me look right here. 7% per year compounded monthly. I know there's 12 months in a year. So if it's compounded monthly, it's going to be compounded 12 times. So my N is 12. And then I know I need a T. My T is time, and it's in years, right? So I look right here in the original question before it gives me two different options. It says for 6 years. So that's my T. My T is 6. And so now what I do is, because this is compounded monthly, I'm going to be using that first formula. And then because this literally, y'all, that's your key word. This says compounded continuously. This says continuously. So that's how I know I use that formula right there. So let me do A, taking what I need from it. I've got A. My A is my balance. That's what I'm trying to find, y'all, right? That's my unknown. Equals P is 8,000. And then open parentheses, that's the number 1. Every single time you do it, that's going to be the number 1, okay? Plus my R, and it's in decimal form. I'm going to use A right here, right? Then that's 0.07. And that's just y'all. I'm trying to save a little bit of time, get this posted for y'all to have, of course, but just keep those separate, okay? Then the formula says to divide that by N. My N is 12. Close your parentheses, and now we're going to raise it to the N times T power. N is 12. T, that was 6 years. So this is what I have. And then from this point on, honestly, all you're doing is just using order of operations, right? You would notice that there's parentheses. Okay, I need to evaluate the parentheses first. Oh, well, that parenthesis is being raised to a power. So you can go ahead and look at that power first. So you really just need to break it down into little pieces, okay? So I would have A equals 8,000 open. I actually am going to do both of them kind of simultaneously. In here, y'all, do not do 1 plus and then try to do 0.07 divided by the order of operations in your calculator. You're going to get the wrong answer, okay? What you need to do is kind of break it up individually. Do this first. Do by itself 0.07 divided by 12. Hit enter, get your answer. If you want to write it, you can. Don't round. You don't round it to the very end, right? I get 0.005833333. That's a bunch of numbers, right? I know that this is going to be added to 1. So I'm going to go ahead and do plus 1. This is what I can go ahead and write. And it's 1.0058. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 3s. I get that it's ugly, but your answers more correct and more accurate when you don't round into the very end, okay? And then right here, exponent, 12 times 6, that's 72. So I kind of looked inside first, right? But I didn't enter this into my calculator. It's very, very easy to miss a parenthesis, and then it messes up your whole order of operations, right? And then from that point on, your whole problem's wrong. Yeah. Yes, I don't think you can't see me. And that's what I don't like about, I don't know if it's the setting or the light. Yeah, so I'm gonna just kind of call it out, right? So if I have, I would do 1 plus parenthesis 0.07 close divided by parenthesis 1, 2 close equal, I get 1.005833, right? But I mean, you have to have confidence in that at least to understand why you're using the parentheses in the first place. You know what I mean? And if so, then you're fine. Honestly though, on an exam, the more work you put, if you get the wrong answer, I can go back and I can look and say, oh, wow, she did literally everything until like right here, it was a little bitty error. You're gonna get less points taken off than if all I have is an answer. Well, you got the wrong answer and there's no work, sorry, no points, right? So that's kind of why you might wanna write some things. So now right here, y'all, it's still just order of operations. What is 1.0058? Da, 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 da. Well, if I just did this plus 1 in my calculator, I already have this in my calculator. All I have to do now is caret 72, because that raises my answer to the 72nd power. Hit enter. I get 1.5201. Da, da, da. Okay, you can write all of that, or you can know, what am I going to do now? I'm going to multiply it by 8,000, right? So times 8,000 is 12160 dot decimal period. And then because it's money, y'all, you round it to the second decimal place, right? Like you would change. 84.4 is just 84. And then, you know, say you find it here, but there's an actual line in your homework, you know, go ahead and add your dollar amount. Like either. Okay, if there's an actual space for it, go ahead and write it here. I would mainly do this so that you put the dollar amount and you know. Now, the easiest way to check your work is if you had $8,000 and you invested it anywhere for 6 years and it says you're fixing to make like millions, like, yeah, right, that's not going to happen, right? Like there's just, yeah. I want to go to that bank, honestly. So you have to kind of look and see, does my answer even make sense? Right? I invested money and I just got back negative 16,000. That's not right either, right? So kind of use that to check your work. Okay, so now for B, it tells me that what I have, right? My money is going to be compounded continuously. So continuously is going to use my E, which is the other formula. And it says A equals, my P is 8,000, and then times E, so just write E. And then it says it's going to be raised to the RT. R, look at right here, right there. When I did my rate, it's kind of not very clear, but when I did my rate for B, I got 0.0685. So raise E to the 0.0685 and then multiply it by T, which is time, which is 6. Order of operations, do that multiplication in your exponent first. Just multiply them together. 0.0685 times 6 equals 0.411, right? So A equals 8,000 times E times 0.411. Now let's actually raise E, that's a point. Now let's actually raise E to that. So that's second, and then the division symbol. I just deleted it. Second division symbol, caret 0.411 equals. Okay, I get this decimal, right? It's like 1.508235. That's big. If you want to write it, write it. That's going to be that times 8,000. But if you have confidence in, okay, now multiply it by 8,000, just multiply it. My husband. Hey, I need to call you back. Or you can just wait 1 second. Hold on. Okay, so when you multiply that by 8,000, what I get is my account balance is 12066 dot, rounding it because it's money, so to the second decimal would be 60. If you had a space, it would be $12,066.60. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So let me end this video real quick.